Hello guys, welcome to Letstute. Whoever's watching this video, a warm welcome to everyone. Whoever's watching this video, welcome to Letstute guys. Welcome to Letstute. Hello guys, hi. Hello guys, welcome to Letstute. So first of all, let me just say, if you're new to this channel, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, then please do subscribe to this channel and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you don't miss any of the updates from us. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic, that is how to study for weak subjects. Okay, so how can we make our weak subjects actually stronger and fall in love with those subjects? This is actually very important. So good evening guys, good evening, hello, yeah, hello guys, good evening. Okay, so this is going to be a kind of a short lecture mostly, because in this we'll study how can we focus on weak subjects. Okay, so let me just show the presentation, that will be much better. Okay, so how to study for weak subjects, this is our topic for today. But if you have any doubt related to your study pattern, or if you want to ask me something like how should we study, or what should we study, or what pattern should we follow, whether should we study in night or maybe morning, you can ask me those questions or any of the questions you want to ask. Okay, so good evening guys, good evening everyone, whoever's watching this video. Okay, so everyone has a weak subject actually. So today we are going to discuss what can be the reasons of the weak subjects, how are we going to tackle those weak points actually, and how are we going to overcome all these weak subjects. So there are actually many people. Okay, yeah. Hello. Yeah. So many of the people have certain weak subjects. So suppose one person can say that I have a weak subject, like math is my weak subject, or maybe science is my weak subject, or maybe a person can say that languages are my weak subject. So each and every person has some or the other a weak subject. Okay, so Marathi can be a weak subject, of course. So everyone from Maharashtra can relate that Marathi can be a weak subject, or maybe Hindi can be a weak subject. So what are your weak subjects? So social science can be a weak subject, history can be a weak subject. So how are we going to tackle these weak subjects? Okay, what is the common point? What is the common point that we can follow for all the subjects? What is the method we can follow for all the subjects? We are going to understand it today. Okay, so let me just. Okay, so first of all, so many of the people will say that I find math difficult. Some people will say that science is my weak subject. My language skills are poor. There are many of the students who are going to say all these things. But what can be the reason? What can be the reason for this important thing? So let's try to look at the reasons first. So disinterest in the subject. So you may be bored while reading that particular subject. So suppose if you're trying to read a topic from science, you can be bored reading that subject. Or maybe if you're reading English, or maybe any history or geography maybe, so you tend to get bored reading that subject. So disinterest in that subject. Next can be not taught properly. So this is actually a very major part we try to overlook actually. So let me just put the PPT a bit bigger. So not taught properly, there can be teachers who aren't teaching properly. So because the teacher is not teaching properly or not giving you the right approach to study, this can be a problem. Suppose if there's a math teacher who's not teaching you properly, the person is not making math a interesting subject, so that can be a reason for you to not like the subject, and that can be a reason for your marks to fall in that particular subject, or maybe you feel that math is a weak subject for you. Okay, so you may also think that suppose a teacher, science teacher, is not teaching it properly, so the person is not teaching you properly. That can be a very very major reason. Disinterest in that subject can be a major reason. And of course we tend to get influenced by many people, like our friends or maybe the neighbors. If they say that you are weak in a particular subject, so if someone says, if you're solving math and someone comes and say you that, hey look, you're so weak in that subject, you can't even solve this particular question, then you start assuming that, oh, I am really weak in math. So that's something which you have heard from someone else and try to think about it, and then you start assuming that, oh, I am weak in this particular subject, therefore I'm not getting marks. Yeah, so how can we tackle that particular thing? This is actually very very important. Okay, so first of all, there's nothing like weak subject or difficult subject, it's all in our mind. Okay, so this you have heard many many times, that it's all in our mind, it's what we think. So for example, you may be weak in math, some other student may be very good in math. You may be very good in a particular subject, maybe science, but that person may be weak in math. You tend to get bored reading a particular subject. Please try to remember, or please try to understand, no subject is boring. No subject is boring. Every subject is equally important and equally interesting. Okay, every subject is very very interesting. It's just the way we try to study it, or maybe try to, or the way it's taught to us. Okay, so should we study easy or weak subjects first? So that can be a question which I'm going to answer in this particular slide itself. Okay, so for to tackle this particular situation, so first of all, we should make certain commitments that we will have strong determination to overcome this fear. Okay, these are not the tips which I am going to tell you. The tips are going to come. Please be tuned and please keep watching this video to get or to take the benefit out of this video. Okay, so these are certain assumptions, or maybe I believe that I will have strong determination that I can do this and I'll overcome this fear. So, what are the different ways in which we can overcome this fear? The first tip is strong determination. Do not procrastinate. Okay, this is a very important point which I repeat in all my live sessions, that we should not procrastinate, because procrastination is our enemy. Laziness is our enemy. Okay, so we should not procrastinate. Of course, no one's saying you don't procrastinate at all. Please try to understand this. No one's telling you to don't procrastinate at all. Of course you can procrastinate, of course you can not do some of the things, but you should prioritize your things. If this particular subject is very very important to you, if you're finding it very very difficult, please do it thoroughly. Please try to understand the concepts properly. How to not procrastinate? You should have a strong determination. Actually, you should have that will, that determination, that I will do this, and today I am going to do this. Hindi is the boring subject. No, my friend, it's not a boring subject. It's just the way you approach Hindi. Okay, so there can be certain tricks, which can be followed. Okay, there are certain tricks which can be followed to make a particular subject, or maybe how can we change the study pattern actually. So first of all, first point is you should have a strong determination, you should have a strong will that of course I am going to do this. Okay, so how to stop procrastinating? You should have the willpower. Of course, that I'm saying that you should have the willpower, and of course you should know that you have to do this. Okay, so try taking small steps. Okay, so if you find particular subject like science very very difficult, if you find math very very difficult, if you find Sanskrit very very difficult, okay, so let me just tell you how can you prepare for Sanskrit. You should practice the writing. There are a lot of translations in Sanskrit that you have to do from Sanskrit to English. So please try to revise the whole chapter. Try to read the whole chapter. Try to translate it. Look at the translation. Look at the passages. That will really help you. There will be many meanings of Sanskrit. There will be synonyms. There will be antonyms. So opposite words, similar words. These are certain things which you are supposed to write down. Make a list of all the chapters. Okay, make a list in which you have synonyms of all chapter, opposite words of all chapter in Sanskrit. Okay, I'm talking about Sanskrit. In other languages like in English, you have to practice the writing skills. In uh, in Hindi, you will have to write the passages down. Okay, so start with very basic. How to make a particular subject interesting. Okay, what is the major reason you find a particular subject very boring or maybe very uninteresting or not appealing at all? Suppose if I say that math is not an interesting subject, that's the only reason I find math difficult or maybe boring, or I'm weak at math. The only reason is that I don't understand the basics of math. If you know how to add particular numbers, math will be very interesting to you. If you know how the formula is derived, math will be very easy for you. If you understand all the logics in physics or maybe in chemistry, those particular subjects are going to be interesting. Of course, there is hard work. Uh, you have to put in the hard work to understand that particular subject. You will have to keep on practicing. You can't say that I didn't practice so I should get this subject. Okay, so you will have to practice. You will have to put in those efforts. You will have to read that particular lesson again and again. But a key point is start with basics. If you understand the basic, the subject will be definitely interesting for you. Next is try making notes. Okay, so if you don't understand Hindi or maybe Hindi is difficult for you, what you can do is make notes out of it. So suppose people say that history is boring for them, or maybe geography is boring for them. So what they can do is they can make mind maps. Okay, so how does mind map helps? You can make a chapter plan out of it. Actually, the whole chapter you can draw it as a mind map. So in the center you'll have the chapter's name, and then you'll draw some branches, and then you can write down whatever is the topic, and then certain key points which will help you to remember those particular points. There's tree diagrams in which you can write down the flow of a particular chapter. So for suppose in chemistry, if you're given reactions or formation of salts, so how do salts form? Salt is formed by addition of acids and base, or maybe metals and acids, metal oxides and acids. So there are various ways in which salt can be obtained. So there are different branches in which how salt can be obtained. So try making a tree diagram. So you can say that how can salt be formed. So you can make tree diagrams in which you will have three branches and mention all the points over there. So and write all the formulas. So this is for math actually. Make a long page, or maybe take a page, write down all the formulas inside it. Okay, so how to make history interesting. Okay, so history is actually a very interesting subject. Why is it interesting? Because it's actually like a story. Don't take history like a subject, take history like a story. Try to understand the story, flow with the story. That will help you a lot. So how to learn basics? Actually, there's a question in the chat that how can we concentrate on the basic steps, or maybe how can we learn basics when we don't have time, or when we don't have time because we are busy doing our homeworks and doing our online classes. So you will have to take out time. If you're finding a particular subject very difficult, if you are weak in a particular subject, you will have to devote extra amount of time for that particular subject. Okay, of course there will be some subjects which are very very easy for you, so you can keep that for later stage. You, of course, you have to do those subjects also, but try concentrating on the difficult subjects more. Try concentrating on the weaker subjects. Which subjects you find weak? I read, I forget. Okay, so there's a point in the chat that I try to read and then I forget. How can I recollect all the things? So you will have to, okay, so you will have to keep on revising again and again. So how does it work? I'll just explain you. So for suppose Monday you have done a particular subject, that is suppose science, one chapter of science, and then on Tuesday again you're doing, on Wednesday again you're doing science. So how should you approach that subject? So first of all, whatever you have studied, please try to revise it. Revision is the only method in which you can recollect everything. Okay, how to learn computer interestingly. Okay, so how to learn different subjects. Okay, there's actually how to learn Hindi in an interesting way. Okay, so for suppose in Hindi you'll have different stories, you will have poetries. Okay, so you don't need to study all of them, you'll just have to understand them. Understand the story, don't try to read the whole story, try to read the summaries. That will save your time, that will save you a lot of time, because in English, in Hindi, in Marathi, in all of the languages, you get summaries. Okay, and summaries are actually the short forms in which you can grasp the whole chapter in very easy way. Then try to understand the meanings. Okay, there will be meanings behind the chapters that will make your life very very easy. Try to understand the meanings and you're good to go. But of course, writing skill is a very important part. Writing skill you have to follow religiously. You will have to write down letters, essays, and yeah, paragraphs and all. You will have to write down all of those. For history, you will have to make mind maps. You will have to make mind maps, you will have to make tree diagrams, and you can make timelines. Okay, for dates, remember this, if you're not getting dates, if you're not getting the dates, like if you can't remember the dates, what you can do is make a timeline. Okay, so try taking help. This is something which we don't follow actually. So if you are falling short of a particular subject, so if you are trying to study a particular subject but you find that particular subject very very weak, or maybe you're not able to understand that particular subject only, so try taking help from online tutors, or maybe you can ask your tuition teacher, or maybe the teachers in the online sessions. So we do conduct online sessions, and you are given the liberty to type in the chat box, and then we can answer you all the questions. But if you're going to a tuition, you can take help from the teacher. You can ask the teacher again and again. So this is the actually the key word, ask again and again. If you're not getting a particular part of that particular subject, try asking again and again. Okay, try out different ways. So what are the different ways you can approach? Okay, so either you can read more about that particular subject. So if you're finding math weak, or maybe you're finding science difficult, try reading about that particular concept again and again. If you're finding difficulty in reading about the brain, okay, so there's a chapter in which you're given the structure of brain. There are different parts of brain, the working, how does brain work, what are the different components. So if you're not getting that particular subject, or if you feel the textbook isn't sufficient to explain you properly, what you can do is, what you can do is try to read more about that. Okay, so how to avoid phones. Okay, so what is the way you can avoid phone is one of the technique which I used to use is, I used to give time myself. Actually, I used to give myself phone only when I have done this particular chapter. So tell yourself that if I have completed, or if I have studied this particular chapter, or maybe three chapters in this particular day, then only I'll touch my phone. So give your self certain challenges. Okay, challenge yourself that I won't use the phone until I complete this particular subject. How can I strong my base in math? Okay, so for math you will have to go through the basics of, maybe suppose if you're facing difficulty in mensuration. So of course, if you're facing difficulty in mensuration, try going back to the areas. Okay, area of a triangle, area of a circle, area of a square, area of rectangles. These are certain topics which you need to cover first, and after that you can get into uh, the volume of cube, sphere, hemisphere. These are certain topics which you will try to understand in much easy way. How to write fast notes? Okay, so how to write fast notes, or maybe how to increase your writing speed, that totally depends on what kind of pen you're comfortable with, the kind of grip you're having over the pen. Okay, and the more you practice actually. So for exams I'll suggest you try using a particular pen. Okay, so for example, if you're using I don't know, any of the pen, try using that same company ka pen. Okay, use same company's pen, that will help you to increase your speed. Okay, how to write perfect notes? Okay, so notes aren't perfect, notes are just for your reference. Please try to understand this. Notes are never perfect, it's only for your understanding, and the way you can understand that particular concept much faster before the exam. So before the exam, if you're sitting with the notes and if you're trying to read it, you can understand that notes because you have written that notes. Okay, so this can be a key point. How to learn dates in history? Make a timeline. Make a timeline and write down all the dates over there and also the events over there. That will help you very much. How to memorize the derivation? Okay, so please get this clear. Don't memorize the derivations, try to understand the derivation. Okay, so for example, if there's a kinematical equation and through graph actually, so a graph is given and you're said to derive a kinematical equation using this graph. Okay, so please try to understand which parts you're supposed to consider. So to find the distance, what can be the distance, what is the velocity in that graph, what is the initial velocity, where is the initial velocity, where is the final velocity, how to find out the total distance covered. These are certain important points which you should understand, and then try to solve the derivation. That will help you a lot. Compositions in Hindi. Okay, so compositions you are not supposed to remember. You will have to write down you will have to practice the compositions more and more. The more you solve papers, okay, this is actually a key point which has helped me in my past. In my 10th standard, it did help me that I used to solve a lot of papers, sample papers, specimen papers, whatever the paper were given by the school, whatever papers were given by my teachers, extra papers. Just try using, just try to solve those papers. One, that will help you. How can you time yourself during the exam? That will help you to increase your writing speed. That will help you to understand what kind of questions the board is asking, and that will help you assess how much prepared are you. Okay, so these are so many key points, and there are many more key points which I haven't included now, but that will really help you. Okay, so what to do if you live in a distracted area? Okay, so one thing you can do is try studying early in the morning or try studying late at night. Okay, so that will really help you. How to study in night? Okay, so that totally depends on what kind of a person are you. Are you a early morning bird, or maybe are you a night owl? Okay, so that totally depends on you. Okay, so actually I didn't complete my points yet. Give extra attention. Okay, so this is a key point to strengthen your weak subjects. You have to give extra attention to your weak subjects. Okay, so there's a question actually. It's funny actually. How to impress your parents with studies? You don't have to impress your parents. This is the basic thing which you should understand. Study for knowledge, guys. You don't have to impress your parents. You don't have to study to score marks. In the last live lecture, I had tried to explain that what is the flow you should follow. So study for knowledge. So after you get knowledge, if you have knowledge, you will gain marks. So for marks you should have knowledge, and for knowledge you should study. So this is the step you should follow. You shouldn't jump from study to marks. You should jump from study to knowledge to marks. Okay, so this is actually a very important point. Okay, and revisit them at regular interval, because this is about revision. You will have to revise your weak subjects. You will have to revise the weak subjects, whatever are the weak subjects. You will have to revise them continuously. Okay, what things to do, how to study physics. So for physics you will have to make a chart actually. So how can you study physics? Make a chart of all the formulas given to you, all the definitions given to you, and yeah, that's it, all the diagrams. So there are circuit diagrams, there are ray diagrams. So ray diagrams are actually very very important for your exams. So that's the way you can study physics. How many hours do you study? Okay, so I used to study for five hours. Okay, so I used to study for 5 hours, and that actually helped me. So not more, not less. 5 hours is actually very very perfect amount, I feel. But as exams approach, as exams comes near, you will have to increase the time. Okay, how to study in easy way? Get the logic. If you get the logic, the subject is actually very very easy. Okay. Okay, there was a question actually which I missed. How to memorize all the formulas? Okay, so how to memorize all the formulas? Make a chart. Okay, make a chart in which you will write down all the formulas and look at that formulas daily. Try to read those formulas at least once in a day. That will really help you. So make a chart of math, make a chart of physics in which you will have all the formulas, and that will really help you. How to avoid nervousness is in exam. Okay, so how to not be nervous when you're writing paper. So first of all, try to understand when will you be nervous. When you are not prepared. Okay, a bit of nervousness is actually very very important, so that you are uh, prepared. Like small amount of nervousness is actually very very important to have a better performance in exam. Okay, small amount of nervousness. But when are you nervous? It's when you're not prepared for the exam. So be prepared for the exam, study properly, then you won't be nervous while you're giving your exam. How to focus on mathematics? Okay, so first of all, I'll explain you. Please try to change the approach in which you're trying to study math. Okay, so first of all, sit with your textbook, try to solve the first exercise properly, try to solve the whole exercise properly, try to solve the solved examples, then move on the second exercise, then move on the third exercise, and then try to solve all the questions again. Okay, you can use past papers to solve the same related questions again. Okay, so I always return to my strong subjects. How can I concentrate or give extra attention? Okay, so this thing is, if that particular subject is strong for you, you will tend to go back to that subject because you like that particular subject. Okay, that's bound to happen. But you should understand that that is your favorite subject, that is your strong subject, so that will be easily completed and you will definitely get good marks in that. But please don't neglect these weak subjects. Okay, you will have to give extra time to that. Okay, how to make good handwriting in exams. So there is actually a video on how to have good handwriting. Okay, so there is actually a video in our channel. You can just go through that video and you will have your problem solved actually. Okay, concentration on math. How can you concentrate on math? Try to understand the formulas, try to get the logic correct, try to learn basics. Okay, basics are very very important. If you don't have a good base in math, that means you didn't really enjoy math and you are not able to solve the difficult sums actually. So try to make your base proper. Okay, that will really help you because we have a lot of time before the exams. We have a lot of time before the exams. Please try to make it proper, otherwise you will face difficult time while giving the exams or maybe few months before the exams. Okay, so please try to solve basic questions. Okay, so, guys, I feel that I have answered most of the questions. So, I'll just end this video. So, if you have any more questions, or maybe if you have any good suggestions on which topic should we come up with, you can just write down it in the chat box. Okay, after this live session is done, you can write down in the chat box and we will go through all the chats, whatever is your suggestions, and try to work on it. Okay, so this was it for today. I hope you must have got some kind of answers, or maybe you must have got some kind of motivation, and how can you increase or maybe better your weaker subjects. Okay, so before ending this session, I'd like to say that whoever's new to this channel, please do subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon so that you never miss an update from us. And that will really help you, and that will help you to be updated actually. That will tell you when is our videos coming up. Okay, so that will really help you. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. Okay, bye.